Terminator Xavier Cox.
Jiu-Jitsu tournament this morning?
Yeah, unfortunately I did. That was embarrassing.
Gi and no gi.
Yeah.
What was embarrassing about it?
I don't my activeness. I just got to learn to stay more active, or at least not stalling. I just get lazy and then I just don't do anything. But outside of that, everything went pretty smooth.
Yeah, you got 2 gold medals.
Not good enough yet.
But why do you think you got tired? I guess
I'm lazy.
You like that, and you don't really be doing gi that often, do you? I'm kind of the same way.
I normally try to. Like our gym's not much of a gi gym as is, but I try to whenever I get a chance. My schedule's just so hectic, so it's like I just gotta do whatever I can do when I do it.
You ended the tournament on a high note, getting a rear naked choke. What were y'all like talking about after you choked him? Did you think he didn't tap and you were still choking him?
Okay, so it's kind of like, so I had him in a rear naked choke, basically, and freaking I don't know what happened. Like I had it across his neck, so it was crushing his trachea, and I was like, I thought I felt some, like I saw his hand go up to tap. So I'm just sitting there. I'm like, okay, let me like loosen it so I can actually get a good rear naked choke and not just like cranking on his neck. And he's tapping me. I'm like, I'm not choking you. Like, what's going on? Like,
so like he tapped before he really was getting choked?
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe you broke him.
Dude,
He looked hyped up all 3 of y'all's matches. He was like kind of hyped up, jittery.
Yeah, I was freaking. I took his back and I had it and I was like, I just gotta slide my arm through and I'll loop it around, and he tapped like 3 different times. Like I'm just sitting there, like my hand's not even in front of him, like on his neck anymore, and he's still tapping. I'm like,
dang.
I didn't mean to.
Right.
But yeah, he was pretty solid point. Good wrestling. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Well, still 2 gold medals is not too bad of a day. But we can get into UFC 314. It was a great, honestly, the fights were pretty good.
Yeah, it was overall, like the whole card.
They weren't bad. Like, and the only ones that went to the decision, I felt like it was because both guys were super technical and really couldn't like get anything going. And anybody that...
Either that or stalling.
Right, yeah. And... I feel like the people that got like finished or whatever, a lot of it was just because their technique wasn't close to the other dudes.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller, that was kind of a chess matchup, kind of. I mean, Chase kind of controlled the whole time.
Yeah, that was a really good match. I enjoyed that one.
That and obviously we'll get into the main card here soon. But did you have a certain dude that you thought looked exceptional
in the prelim or just like overall?
Doesn't matter. So
my destroyer has to go to Patty the Batty.
Patty the Batty.
I really liked what he did. Honestly, I feel like I'm giving Patty too much credit because I feel like Chandler wasn't himself in some shape, form, or fashion. I don't know if his age getting to him. I don't know exactly what it is that's going on. But I know we talked about this yesterday when we went live. But I mean, Chandler was. Actually, scratch that. No, we're doing this. I called it too.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, like I said last time, he didn't get dropped 4 times, but he landed some good stuff, got in the triangle, got out of the triangle,
yep.
Then after the triangle,
got submitted.
I called a knockout, but submitted.
He didn't get submitted. He got TKO'd.
Yeah, freaking, that was insane by itself. And then he didn't call out Conor McGregor, but Patty did. So I feel like overall that was freaking awesome.
You were kind of seeing the vision. You were just like seeing it in a different aspect.
Yeah, it's everything was there except getting dropped 4 times.
Right.
But everything else happened, whether it was one or the other.
Right. You also, on the live, you also called John Silva getting that submission.
Yeah, I called that like freaking...
And it was a plus 1,200 line to do that.
I should have put like freaking my savings on it.
But Patty's your destroyer of the week.
Yeah.
What exactly did you like
I just thought he fought a great game. Like, between his striking looked pretty good. The way he throws his punches is super loopy, so it still messes with me. I don't necessarily like it.
Right.
And I thought that's something when I said if Chandler could knock Patty out, that's how he would do it. Because Patty, the way he throws is super loopy, and those leg kicks, he came out throwing those leg kicks. Those leg kicks were getting to Chandler super bad. First round, he was already not getting swept with them, but off balance. Constant leg kicks. It was. The consistency in those were great. His combos weren't too bad, and he was touching Chandler more than Chandler was touching him.
Yeah, he definitely looked good, especially if you think about a guy that has some type of stardom in the UFC, and he's going against kind of a big name in Michael Chandler. He's supposed to go out there and make a statement, and that's exactly what he did.
Oh, yeah.
So, probably, I would assume that Patty gets a top 5 opponent after this.
That's fair.
Who do we think?
Ilya Taporia.
That would be something. I feel like Ilya's going to get the title shot. So.
Yeah, you were saying yesterday that basically if you're going to vacate a title and go up a weight class, you wouldn't want to fight for the number 1 contender spot.
Right, you would want to go straight into that title shot.
Because it's being vacated.
That and when you become a champion, you start making pay-per-view points. And so when he knocked Max out, he got pay-per-view points for that fight. And then
which is lucky.
Right. And then he obviously vacated the title to go up to 155. But if you're going to do that, I would only vacate if I knew I was going to get a title shot at the weight class above. Even if that means I'm having a hard time making 145. I'm going to take that risk to get those pay-per-view points. That's where all the money is.
If you're the number 1 contender, say Volk before this fight, say Volk was the number 1 contender for the 145 title. If Volk were to go up to lightweight, who would he fight?
And because he's not champ?
Yes, just any number 1 contender in general. Say he goes up a weight class. Would you say he needs to fight the number 1 contender and fight nothing less than that, or do you top 5 type thing, or
probably top 3, just because when we're talking about specifically Volk, he's made a big name for himself.
I said Volk. That was probably a bad example. I was just thinking in general, for anybody. So say Bilal wanted to go up to 85. You think he deserves? He's vacating to 70 to go to 85. Do you think he gets the title shot right away?
I would think so. I would only do that. I would only give up the title if I knew I was getting a title shot at the weight class above. It just doesn't make sense to me where I'm the champion, I'm getting pay-per-view points, I'm a huge star, and I'm just going to give it back and then have to get through the pipeline again to get back up to the top of the next weight class.
That's fair.
So, yeah. I think when it comes to Patty, though, I would like to see Justin Gaethje versus Patty. I would like
he called out everyone. He called Justin, Dustin, what it was Justin, Dustin.
Max versus Patty would be a good fight.
Well, there's 2 other people he called out. Or no, there's
Armin.
When he called out, Armin, and then he said something about Connor as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin, Dustin, Armin, and honestly anybody.
Yeah, anybody in that top 5 spot, I would like to see him go up against. I feel like he's on a 9-fight winning streak now. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
In the UFC. And the one against Jared Gordon was kind of iffy. I think he lost that fight, but he being on a 9-fight winning streak, you definitely should be fighting in that top 5, if not for a number 1 contender spot for the title shot. And so that was your destroyer of the week.
So what about your burn?
My burner it was the second fight of the night. I was watching at work before I got here to your house, and this guy named Marco Tulio fought Tresean Gore. And this fight was freaking awesome. It was more of a whooping when it comes to Tulio was kind of whooping Tresean Gore.
Yeah. But
Tresean still had his moments. He just couldn't get any offense going. And because Marco was staying in his face, he was mixing it up. Not only like throwing shots to the head. He was throwing shots like teep in and then throwing a cross and then a spinning heel kick to a leg kick. Like he was just mixing it up so well. And that weight class is 185. Do I think he beats Dricus right now? Probably not.
I think Dricus sucks.
Yeah, but I agree with you. But there's just something about how awkward he is. He knows how to win.
Sucks the overstatement. I don't hate him as bad as like I put it out to be. But at the same time, he's just a guy. Somebody like me I guess doesn't want to like. But he's he's a champ, so it's like can't say much about it.
Yeah, you can't hate too bad. I think he's just found a way to use his style. That's like the best version of him, is being
punches with his head.
Right, yeah. Like just being super unorthodox and kind of pushing the pace, and he looks like he gets tired, but he doesn't, like, the output doesn't fade.
Yeah.
So I think this guy Marco Tulio could beat Dricus. Probably not right now because I haven't seen enough out of him. Yeah. But his striking is definitely elite, and he could hang with some of the best strikers in the UFC, especially for 3-round fights.
Dude, that's the biggest thing, though, especially like when it comes to like picking fights and like how we pick our fights on who we think's gonna win and stuff like that. Like you go back and watch like previous fights, it's still not the same as who they're gonna fight next.
Right.
Because everyone has their own fighting style. Everyone has that different breaking point, and like just everywhere in like that category is just different. So It's like it's so hard to like judge.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the hardest sports, I feel like, when it comes to like picking who's the winner is gonna be, because there's just so many different things that can happen. Submission, knockout. Oh, I mean, this is dumbing it down, but like submission, knockout, and decision win. Those are the 3 ways to win, but there's like
DQ.
There's like there's like 100, or I'm sure there's more than 100 different subs, or I don't know exactly how many subs have been hit in the UFC, but there's so many different situations, and people are better at some positions than others. It's really like playing like Street Fighter almost.
Yeah, especially from sport to sport. Because like you look at submission grappling, it's going to be different from an MMA fight.
100%.
So it's like you might not be able to throw up the same submission, so it just automatically...
Yeah, you can't pull guard in an MMA fight.
Actually, I did it the other day.
And
so my
sparring?
Yeah, it was sparring. But I have a good idea to pull guard, and I think I might pull guard in an MMA fight.
You can keep that secret, or you can try and elaborate? Like, how'd you do it? How'd you set it up? You just ran out of a jump?
It was a super tight guard pull, and I was in a good position the whole time.
And did you, like, jump and lock your legs, or did you pull them down to the ground?
I can't get too specific with that.
Okay. You want to keep that. So, but yeah, that's my burner of the week is Marco Tulio. Looked really good beating Trayshawn Gore. Yours is Patty Pimblett. Looked really good beating Michael Chandler in a fight that he should have won and did win. But the first fight on the main card, which was an outstanding performance from Dominic Reyes, that looked like it almost looked kind of how Conor knocked out Aldo, but at light heavyweight. So it looked way more vicious.
Just smacking harder.
Yeah, he like stepped back. I can't remember if it was a right or left, but that step back punch, that's almost like doing a step back 3 in the NBA, like game winner.
Dude, it was so crisp and clean. I was like, dude.
And we both had him.
Yeah.
You went 5 for 5 on this, though. Like every person we talk about, you got it. So.
What'd you do?
I had Reyes.
For like your 5. Or how many?
4 out of 5. I missed the
5?
Silva and Mitchell one.
That's the point.
But now that means by the time we're done with this, we'll talk about it. But now we're 1-1 since.
Yeah.
I had the Gerald
Brad Tavares.
Yeah, Brad Tavares beating Gerald. That was my win, and then you just got John Silva beating Bryce Mitchell. So we're tied 1-1.
By submission.
By submission, dude. You called it on the live. We just didn't take it. But speaking of that fight, what a crazy ninja choke he pulled out of nowhere and just would not let go of that thing.
Yeah, he was like, the earth's not flat anymore.
Right, yeah. I saw a meme where it was like, he said when he got submitted, he went to like he was astroplaning, and he could see that the world is round now.
Yeah, it was freaking insane. He locked it up, and I was like, that looks tight.
Yeah.
And then, like, he rolled.
I didn't think he was going to tap because he was in that guillotine before, and I was like, that's a pretty tight guillotine. He's not tapping.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. You got to give it to him. He's pretty tough. And I thought he was going to go to sleep.
Yeah, me too.
It looked like he was about to, so.
But great by John Silva. Their guys are still undefeated in the UFC.
19-0.
It's like 19-0. And then we'll talk about it here in a minute, but we got Prates this weekend.
Yeah, versus Ian Machado Garry.
Mm-hmm. That would be nice.
Wag.
Yeah, him and his wag. But we got
Yair
versus Pitbull, which is a good fight. It's that was probably the most technical fight on the main card besides maybe the main event. The main event was pretty technical, but these guys felt like Yair was doing what he wanted to do when it comes to like keeping his range and distance management.
I love the way he throws his kicks. They're so fast and clean.
Fast, great technique. He's not getting like off balance when he's throwing them.
No, it's like he's always in a good position, especially for the most part.
Right.
And I don't know, it's just, and they're so consistent too.
Yep.
So it's like.
And we both had Yair on that one, so that was a good pick for us. I feel like we haven't been doing too bad with the picks. I can't remember how many we missed last week, but I feel like we're on a good start.
I think I went, what was it, 6 fights for the main card?
Yeah.
3-3. I think I went 3-3 last week. That was the week I went 3-3.
Something like that.
I don't know though.
But then 100%. We already talked about Chandler and Patty. I don't feel like we have to do too much more on that. Pretty much just Patty doing what he needed to do.
So what do you think about Chandler running the octagon like the track?
What do you mean?
Like the way he got hit and then he just started just running last round of the octagon.
I think in certain situations you got to do what you got to do to survive. And
do you think they should start calling stallings in MMA or anything like that to like deduct a point, half a point, or anything like that?
This was something we were talking about. I would love to see half point deductions, and I think the refs wouldn't be as scared to make a call if it's just half a point, because then you could still win the round, and you would only win the round by half a point though.
Yeah.
If you got a point deducted from you and then you won the round, you would still be up. So I don't feel like it would be that big of a deal, and refs wouldn't like give so many warnings. As soon as something happened, they would call it right then and there and take a half point. And what was it? Oh yeah, when it comes to stalling, yeah, I feel like you could do the same thing in that. Take a half point for stalling.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'd be excited to see something like that.
It's hard to stalling in MMA is kind of hard though, because a lot these guys have to fight for 15 minutes, which is low key kind of a long time,
and or more. Right,
and when you're fighting a 5-minute round, you can't just like go out there and go guns blazing right out the gate. You're gonna gas. Nobody can do that for 15 minutes. Even Merab. Like Merab's still the way he's strategically lazy in positions is what I was. That's a bad way to put it. He strategically takes breaks when he's in a dominant position. So, but a lot of times people take those breaks before they get to dominant positions, and that's what ends up making them look like they're gassed and stuff or don't have good cardio. But Merab he probably has better than average cardio, but he's still got around the same oxygen capacity as a regular human being. So he waits until he's on top, and then that's when he takes his moments of like resting and holding on. But it's just hard. It's hard to say stalling would be in MMA because these dudes have to fight for 15 minutes or more, and nobody can go guns blazing for a whole 15.
Yeah.
So the main event, pretty good. The fan base all thought Volk was, not all, but most of the fan base, 60% of the fan base thought Volk was going to win, and they were right. And I think he did exactly what he needed to do. It was kind of a close fight. I honestly think it was 2-2 going into the 5th.
I don't know. I feel like, honestly, Volk and I guess the ref's decision could have won any of the rounds that happened.
Right.
So I figured Volk was up. I didn't know the exact scorecard because I didn't know how they were scoring it. Volk was doing really good in the first rounds. He was tagging. He was moving his feet the whole fight. So that's something. That's pretty much what we said Volk needed to do to win the fight. He's tagging them, moving his feet, trying to stay fast. And all Diego needed to do, honestly, if Diego pressured him the whole time.
He got cracked at one point.
In the second round.
Yeah, and he got dropped. And any Volk fan was thinking, oh my God, we're watching Islam Ilya 3.0 like happened to Volk.
Yeah, it was freaking. That was a scary sight to see. But yeah, if all Diego, honestly, I think personally had to do, if he pressured forward, staying consistent with his strikes, I think he would have won that no problem.
Yeah.
But the fact that he didn't, and I don't know if it's like he didn't or he can't like cut Volk off at the angles he needed to cut him off at. Like he was just chasing Volk the whole time, and if Volk honestly hit harder, probably could have put Diego away. I mean, Diego's a tough guy, but
right.
like at the same time, he's so much like Volk is not like the hardest hitter in the world.
Right.
But if he was, Diego would have been out just because.
It's kind of crazy how Volk can put out more output than somebody being on the front foot on him or putting pressure on him. He can be on the back foot and be pushing the pace. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's a super high level striker for sure. His distance management and shot selection is supreme.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. I like watching Volk's like always super cool. Like it's the way he's like strategizes how to go around things. Like the whole fight, honestly, like the only round I would have gave Diego is round 2 when he got dropped.
Right.
That's just because he got dropped. I mean, I don't know how they technically score that. I know in amateur, a lot of places, like, you get dropped, it's an automatic 10-8, unless the other guy gets dropped, and then...
Double 10-8.
Yeah.
But, I agree with everything you're saying. We were watching, but I couldn't tell if it was 2-2 going into 5 or Volk was up 3-1, but it was one or the other. And Volk did what he needed to do in that 5th round and kept the distance, hit him more than he got hit.
Dude, also the strikes, the strike ratio of significant strikes, he landed a lot more than Diego did.
Oh, yeah.
And
Even in the round he got dropped, I'm pretty sure he landed more.
Yeah, he landed more in every round by, almost double?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was... Volk was landing shots the whole time, going backwards, side to side, doing what he needed to do to get to, I guess, where he was safe, I guess.
Right.
Or where he likes to play.
Yeah, that card was good. UFC 314 was not bad. It was definitely worth the money we paid for it, and I enjoyed it. And the next pay-per-view is May 10th. It's like Bilal and JDM. We'll save that for when we get there. But that's going to be a crazy one, I think. But the card this week...
Don't waste your money. Tune into TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we got this weekend... Carlos Prates versus Ian Garry in the main event. But we're going to start at the beginning of the main card with Ikram Aliskerov versus Andre Muniz. Who you got first?
I got Andre Muniz. I'm going to be 100%. I didn't pick these. I had my girlfriend, so... I hope
I take the lead this week, dude. Or I'll be so sad if you get more right than me. And Grace made all the picks.
Honestly, so... I don't know, I've been training all this week or whatever, so it's like, and then yesterday we went live for the fights, and then today I competed this morning, so I didn't get to do as much research as I wanted to do for these fighters. So I was like, hey, which name sounds cooler, which record looks better, who's taller or something like that.
So I guess you can try your best to explain why you think why did Grace think Andre Muniz is going to win?
In Grace we trust.
Yeah.
No, but I know when she went over it, she was looking at like a lot of the records and stuff like that, seeing how like breaking those down, girl math in those. So
I don't think it's a bad pick necessarily. I'm going the opposite. I'm going with Ikram. But
that's what I said too. No.
but I did. I mean, if there's a guy that could sneak Ikram, it would be Andre. He's got a nasty submission game. He's got like 15 wins by sub and only been sub once.
I didn't look at any of that.
But Ikram has never been submitted and had been knocked out twice. One by Hamzat Chimaev, the other is Robert Whitaker. And that was his last fight.
What do you know about anything about Andre Muniz? Like, how the type of...
He's a jiu-jitsu guy.
Okay, so
But that's what I was saying. He has 15 fights.
This is embarrassing. I'm talking about fights I didn't...
No, you're good. And this is a 6-fight main card. I forget where they're at. I think they're in Iowa.
Yeah. No, that's the Sandhagen fight.
You're right. But they're somewhere. And 6-fight main card. It's going to be hard to know all these dudes anyway. But I think you got Andre Muniz in the first one. I got Ikram. This next fight, it was super hard for me to pick. Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dolby.
I know.
Because this dude, Dolby, is not bad. But he's 40. That's the issue.
I didn't know that.
He's 40 years old. And
I'm about to lose.
And he's going up against somebody that's got like 4 inches of height on him. But he's never been finished. He's a 40-year-old fighter, had a bunch of fights, and never been finished ever. Only losses were by decision. I think he has like 5 of them. But I just think he's running into somebody that can use their length and probably win. But I don't know, dude. I'm kind of split on this one. If Nicholas Dolby was the same age as Randy Brown, I would say him. But because he's not, I have to take Randy.
So my pick going into this was Randy Brown. But I'm going with Nicholas Dolby.
Oh, so now we're head-to-head on the first two.
I mean, I know both these guys more than the first fight, so it's like I didn't know that. I guess not that. I didn't know he was 40 years old. That's what I'm scared about. Is will his age catch up to him? And if it does, how much of it?
He's not a bad fighter, though. I've watched him fight, and he's not bad. He just...
But is he good enough to beat Randy Brown?
I don't know. And Randy gives me questions, too. He's coming off a loss against Brian Battle, and it was a split decision. There was a lot of controversy in that fight because Brian Battle missed weight by like 3 or 4 pounds, and Randy still took the fight. And Randy was doing good. He was winning, but then in the third round, he gassed, and Brian didn't. And obviously, you can point to he didn't cut those last couple pounds. Maybe that's why his cardio held up. But I could tell that Randy definitely was getting tired and getting in his own head about the situations he was going to put in, which was he was just getting out-clinched up against the cage and couldn't do nothing. But if Randy Brown can use his length in this fight and his speed and his youth, I think he's 6 years younger, I think he wins. Not bad. And then the next fight, Michel Pereira versus Abus Magomedov. This is not a bad fight at all. But I have no clue who wins, so I'm going to be biased on this one. I'm going to pick Mr. Backflip, Michel Pereira, just because, one, I didn't know that man is still like 31. But I feel like I've known him or like seen him fight for a while, and he looks like he should be a little bit older, but they're Brazilian, so you never know with him. Did you ever watch the old UFCs with this guy named Marco Ruas?
Yeah.
He would lie about, or not lie, he just wouldn't tell the UFC his age. So when they like put up the tail of the tape for his age, it just said like 3 question marks.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny. I don't know why they're like that, but maybe Michel's lying about his age because he looks older than 31 to me.
So I picked Michel Pereira for the plot, basically. I like the guy. How could you go against him? Fan favorite. I don't know.
It's not. I mean, this guy, Abus, isn't bad. I just think he's fighting somebody a little bit younger, a little bit faster, probably a little bit bigger. And it just depends if... They both have shown that they will get tired and that they will get exhausted. Both of them will. So I could see that if nobody gets finished in the first round and a half, it's probably going to go all the way to decision because they're too tired to do anything. But, so we agreed on that one, which is the only one so far. The next fight's pretty good. And speaking of weight, with the Giga Chikadze fight and David Onama, I'm picking Giga based on the weight class. David Onama's last fight was at 155, and he's going back down to 145. And I've seen Onama get tired before. And Giga is a person that can stay there the whole time as long as he's not getting out-wrestled. And I don't think David Onama has the wrestling to, or is going to try and use wrestling to beat Giga. So I feel like Giga takes this one.
I picked David Onama. Grace. Well, I don't know what she picked. She picked one of them, but I have him written down, and that's something I've seen him fight before, and I was like,
you remember when he fought Nate Landwehr, Nate the Train?
Yeah, I think that's the fight.
You probably saw.
Yeah, I remember the.
Yeah, Nate was like he was on top, winning, like doing ground and pound, and he would just literally get up off of him and then like hype the crowd up and get David to come back. That was when James Krause was still a coach, and if y'all don't know anything about that dude, he got in big trouble doing a betting scandal because he got one of his fighters to go out there and take a dive. Like as soon as he took a leg kick, he went down. But the whole team had money on the other dude to win, not their own guy. They bet on the other dude, and their guy went out there and lost on purpose. So he got in huge trouble.
Hear me out.
I'm listening.
That's kind of smart.
It's not. Yeah, until you get caught.
How do you get caught?
They follow the money. They probably bet way too much. Because they knew if you know you're gonna cash a bet, take out some loans, dude. Like put it all on.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, so they probably should have been like dumbed down their pricing a little bit, but that's how I would assume they followed the money, realized that these dudes, the coaches of their fighter, bet against their own fighter and won a whole bunch of money on it.
Well, I mean, either way, honestly, I do that for some of my picks. I think this guy's going to win, but this guy wins, so it's like
right.
I put money on the guy I don't want to win, but if he does win, I win money. But if he loses, my fighter wins.
Right. I get what you're saying, but it is kind of phony to like just go out there because the other dude is preparing to he wants to win, but he's preparing to get ring time and get experience. And if I'm gonna leg kick you with just an average leg kick, and you're gonna go down and fake like you're hurt just so y'all can make money, it's like y'all made a bunch of money and wasted my time. Like, he could have been fighting somebody else that could be giving him better, he could be going against somebody that would give him a better challenge and make him better. But instead, he wasted a whole fight camp to fight somebody that was going to go down from one leg kick intentionally. Money is money.
You gotta do
bag's a bag.
So, somebody is probably, unfortunate, so it's like,
yeah. They were trying their best. But now that dude, James Krause, he was coaching David Onama. That's the reason I brought him up in that Nate the Train fight. And that was the last I ever seen of him. Because the old leg kick thing happened not too long after that. And so we're going head-to-head on this one as well. That means we're head-to-head on 3 out of the 4 that we've done so far. Then the co-main event, I feel like the only reason they're in this spot is because Anthony Smith has made a name for himself in the UFC. Do I think he's going to win this fight? Probably not. Just because this Chinese dude has 20 first-round knockouts. And I just feel like Anthony, when he submitted Vitor Petrino with that guillotine up against the cage in the first round in 2 minutes, he should have retired that day. That day on that win.
How old is Anthony Smith?
He's 40 or something. Or he could be younger.
Honestly, I gotta start doing research.
You were busy.
I got busy in college.
Oh, he's 36. I thought it was 40. Anyways, but the Chinese dude is 26 with 20 first round knockouts or something like that. It's crazy. And he's only had 2 fights in the UFC, but both first round knockouts that he got. And now he's fighting a veteran in Anthony Smith. Do I think it's possible that Anthony can win? Yes. But I just don't think he's going to.
I hope he does.
Yeah. Based on experience, I wouldn't if he can get the dude past the first round, which is something he's not used to. I mean, I've looked at his record, the Chinese guy, and he's gone past the first round before, but usually those are where his losses came, is when he had to get pushed past the first round. So if Anthony Smith can be a veteran and be smart and have a game plan, he can win. But I just think it's the end of the road for Anthony, and he should have retired 2 fights ago.
Yeah. I mean, in grace we trust.
Yeah, in grace we trust. But so now we're head-to-head on 5 of them. Then in the main event, let's see if we agree on this one at all. Who you got first?
Carlos Prates versus Machado Garry. So I picked Carlos Prates. I don't know. I feel like now is not a good time to like go against one of the nerds.
Yeah. But eventually that streak has to break.
Yeah. What is next week? The week after that?
What? This fight?
No, one of the other ones fight, and I don't think they're going to win. But I don't know. I had a hard time picking it. And it's like, I understand Ian Garry will do what it takes to win. We saw that in his last fight. But...
Tried to. He lost the shot cut in his last fight. But in all the other fights before that, 100%.
Who was the fight what's his name?
Neil Magny?
No. MVP.
MVP, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's willing to do what it takes to win.
100%.
That was a good fight against Shavkat, and I just think Carlos is gonna... I just see him coming out on top. I don't see him losing this one.
I could see that, especially with the momentum Carlos is on. Like, he's won like 5 fights in the UFC in a row, all by knockout. And then he's running into a guy that's coming off of a loss. But that was a big fight that he just had when it comes to like technique.
Yeah.
And so I feel like Ian Garry should be more skilled. But when it comes to like brute force and aggression and ring control, I give that to Prates.
I'm curious to see which way this one goes.
For sure. This is gonna be
after I watch
fight.
the first round, I'll tell you for sure who I think I'll definitely give you put my money on it. But like right now, it's like how will both of these guys fight that fight? More so, I'm thinking like if Ian comes out and does what he needs to do, he can definitely get the win.
100%.
But if it goes any other way, I just have Carlos Prates for that, and I just feel like Ian's not going to come out.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. The only thing that and probably the reason why I'm picking Ian Garry is because he's coming off a 5-round fight, and this is a 5-round fight. Carlos hasn't had a 5-rounder in the UFC yet.
It is a 5-round fight. I didn't think of that.
Yeah. There's always time to change your pick.
No, it's not. It's still, I changed them all.
In grace we trust. So we're going head-to-head on 5 of the 6 fights on the main card next week, which is kind of awesome because the past 2 weeks we have only had 1 fight where we were going head-to-head. So this will be...
We're definitely going to have...
Somebody's going to take the lead, or...
Yeah.
Only be leading by 1. But it's still... I'm excited. Other combat news. What do you want to talk about?
I know this is a bit late, but the Hodge Trophy went to Wyatt Hendrickson. And I think that's absolute bananas.
So what does the Hodge Trophy exactly mean?
I don't know. Not funny.
You know?
Isn't it supposed to be go to the best wrestler
of the tournament or of the year?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I just trying to know like what are they basing who should get the Hodge off of?
So based off what I heard, because I just heard it, and like they go like based off the best wrestler. I feel like if anyone got it, it should not have been Wyatt. Yes, he won. He's been super dominant all year. One, he's a heavyweight. A heavyweight getting it means I
see what you're saying.
Heavyweights aren't as technical, although he is a very technical heavyweight. I feel like we're giving him more credit than one they deserve. 2, look at Mitchell Messenbrink and Carter Strachey. Both of them freaking absolutely insane. He had, 90-something% tech fall average?
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane especially in that weight class.
Right.
Where there's like freaking Michael Caliendo and like a bunch of other crazy good wrestlers. And like that's who I was saying. It's like either Mitchell Messenbrink because like he dominated the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
just like, literally dominated. And then you have Carter Strachey, which pretty much dominated. I know he had a lot closer matches or whatever, but at the same time, he's been dominating for the past 5 years. 5-time NCAA champ.
Yeah.
Never been crazy. Done before.
Yeah, but how does that even happen? And should that happen? Should you be allowed to win a 5th title?
COVID.
Yeah, but then how do you get the 4th one?
COVID.
So they just gave people an extra year because of COVID?
Yeah. Yeah, everyone who competed that year got...
See, that's what... The reason I don't like that is because that's never going to get... Like, it might never get broken again. That might be the only guy to be able to win 5.
Yeah, that's the one thing I thought, like, how is there a way somebody could get 5
Got to start a double pandemic on purpose.
Exactly, yeah.
Pandemics back to back.
That's the one thing I had against it. But either way, whether he won or didn't, like, he would still a 4-time. There's only been 6 4-time NCAA champions.
Wasn't John Smith one of them?
Yes, I think so. Kale, I think. No. Was it Kale?
Dake
was one of them. Yanni was one of them. And
they were pretty close.
Yeah, there's...
And then Carter.
Yeah, Carter was the 5th. Oh, yeah, he was last year.
Yeah.
So
who do you think? You think Carter should have won it?
So, I don't think Wyatt Hendrickson should have won it.
Okay.
Now, I'm not trying to bash him. He's worked hard and everything.
Had the biggest upset.
Yes.
Maybe ever.
That was the biggest upset, but I don't think Gable Stevenson's the best wrestler in the tournament either.
No, I don't think that time off served him very well.
Yeah, also he had the time off, which I think, that was kind of another reason he probably lost.
When he played football for the Bills, went and signed a NXT developmental deal with WWE.
Yes.
And then started training with John Jones.
That's probably the best thing he did.
Yeah, honestly, that was probably the closest thing he got to doing some actual wrestling training. But me and you know this, like, MMA wrestling is different than going and doing collegiate wrestling folk style. There's similarities, like, obviously, if I get you up against the cage and I get in on a single leg and I lift you, like DC does to all of his people, that would work in NCAA too.
I'd rather train MMA wrestling for wrestling than actual wrestling for MMA.
Say it again?
So I'd rather train MMA wrestling than I would train wrestling for MMA.
And I feel like I know why you're saying that, but is that because you're an MMA fighter?
Or, I just feel like it's easier to put stuff together because there's a lot more upper body takedowns and you take away a lot of the legs and stuff like that and like how you get to the legs and what you can do from the legs. Because of that, I feel like that's the biggest aspect that changes in like those two sports, like mixing and matching them or whatever.
100%.
That's the biggest thing that changes. And because you can't go down there for one, it's like train how to go upper body. One, you can beat a lot of... I mean, it's not... I've won so many matches just off upper body. Just throw-bys, freaking ducks.
You won matches today?
Throw-bys and ducks.
Yeah. But I agree with what you're saying. But when it comes to if I had a choice, if I could wrestle like a college wrestler, if I could wrestle like Habib, and I hate Russians, but
I like him. I'm a Russian.
But if I had a choice, I would want to wrestle like Habib. Because I would rather know how to wrestle in a situation where somebody can throw hands at me and feet than knowing how to wrestle against somebody that can't throw a punch or knee or kick at me.
Although, speaking of Russians, I beat a Russian in...
ADCC?
Yeah. San Diego. Atos HQ.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's like that.
I'm happy about that. You see the grin on my face?
I was he trains at the Atos headquarters too, so it's like...
Be one of them Atos dudes.
I know.
Heck yeah.
Well, Ryland went against this girl from who trains at Atos Atlanta.
Okay.
I don't know
I didn't know they had one in Atlanta.
Yeah, I didn't know that till last week. I think I saw something like that, but I saw it. I was like, oh, I wonder how good they are.
Right.
I'm sure they got to be some type of good.
Yeah, they're not bad. They got. If you're talking about the one that's out in California, I'm pretty sure Andre Galvao is the one.
Well, that's the one I went to.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I was supposed to train there, but
got busy or something.
So there was no-gi in the morning, and I competed it that morning. And then there was gi that night, and I didn't have a gi, and I ended up not going. Also, I got locked out of my hotel.
How'd that happen?
So my key just didn't work, so I went down to the office or whatever, and nobody was he was in the office eating Chipotle.
Nice.
So if you're ever in
California.
San Diego, don't go to the, was it Howard Johnson Hotel? That place sucks. It was cheap for a reason, but like it was.
It's good to know.
Yeah, that place sucks.
And there's another thing I wanted to talk about with the Hodge real quick is when I looked at the vote counts, I saw this little
yeah, he was down
showcase.
in all of the other polls or whatever. He was down in all of them.
And not only that, but
at least I saw.
So the top three were Carter Starace, Mitchell Messenbrink, and Wyatt Hendrickson.
Mm-hmm.
And all the people that voted for Messenbrink, if they would have voted for Carter, instead of splitting their fan base up, Carter would have won. He would have got more votes than Wyatt.
I don't think it matters. I just think freaking
Wyatt should have got that many votes.
The fact that he got that many, I respect it, but dude, you only beat one guy.
Probably the biggest upset in the entire history of Division I wrestling.
I mean, it still sucks. No, but yeah, that was a bit much for me. I just don't think he's better than those two wrestlers. One dominated the whole season. There was 4 matches that weren't tech falls, and those were top 3 guys. And then freaking Carter Starace I guess he had some close matches. He had closer matches. But I don't know, it
rubbed you the wrong way.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't think he wasn't the best.
He should have got a different trophy.
You got a gold or he won first. That's good enough.
Yeah, that's a good enough trophy. So the only other combat news I have is that Amanda Nunes at the press conference for UFC 316 when Kayla Harrison and Juliana Pena were yapping at each other, Amanda was asked if she would come out of retirement and fight the winner, and she said yes. So we're going to be getting, hopefully, Lioness back in action against the winner of Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison.
I'm the craziest Amanda Nunes fan. I mean, I'm a fan of winners. So, if you're a winner.
Do you think... I think Amanda could still beat both of them.
Yeah, that's true. But how old is she? It's
a very good question. But, I mean, she retired after beating Juliana in their rematch.
Which was close.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't that one close?
The first one, Juliana submitted her. And then in the second one, Amanda beat the crap out of her.
She submitted her with that BS.
No hooks, rear naked choke.
Yeah, it's what I had today.
Yeah.
I had body triangle. But I was he's tapping me and I'm not even on his neck. I'm dude.
She's 36.
She should probably retire.
Yeah, but we just saw Volk. Volk's 36.
But Volk's him. She's not.
She's not her. I don't know. She kind of is. She's kind of the most her female fighter.
When she wakes up, I want her to tell me that.
That's not a bad fight.
She got submitted by Juliana Pena, right?
Yeah, but then beat the crap out of her in the second fight.
Volk got...
TKO'd. KO'd.
He didn't get submitted, though.
No, he didn't get submitted. He's never been submitted. But I think that's a good fight for the 135-pound division to definitely give women's MMA some more shine.
Short notice, too. That was short notice.
Yeah.
Both of them were.
Yep. But I think for women's MMA, they kind of need Amanda right now. There's no big star besides Rose Namajunas, Zhang Weili, and Juliana Pena and Kayla. Those are the only 4, and that's spread across 3 weight classes.
Then go freaking out looking for people. Hey, you want to fight MMA?
Yeah, I think, it just feels like they need more star power in the women's divisions. And there's people coming up. There's some girls coming up that are low-key making some noise. And probably when they start getting those big opportunities in the top 5, number 1 contender fights and title shots, there probably will be more stardom in the future.
Did you skip a women's fight? No.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, when I got here before the Dan Ike Sean Woodson fight, it was John versus Mirna during the Robin. I was like, this is my time to go take shots.
That wasn't even the one I was talking about.
What fight?
Dude, yeah, that fight was it wasn't good, but
Right.
It wasn't bad. I just wish they did more. I used to love watching women's fights, but now it's like, I'm not trying to be sexist or anything. I'm just like,
No, you definitely are.
There's been
I'm just kidding.
there's just been a decrease in like output that they've been bringing. It's like
Star power. It's not, these girls just need they need more fights. They need to talk more. The only people that are really promoting themselves is Juliana and Kayla. They're the best at promoting themselves right now.
yeah.
Rose doesn't really do much. She doesn't promote herself too much. Zhang Wei Li, we can't even understand half the crap she's saying. So I feel like Amanda coming back is good for women's MMA. And that's pretty much it. I don't really have any other stuff. What do you have any dates lined up? I know you had a tournament today, but
Well, I guess next week I go against Levencio for the 155.
heck yeah, we should do a live for that.
I should, and I might.
Might have to. And then you gonna do ADCC Atlanta?
I might. The people signing up for it are making me want to do it. So
Yeah, apparently I've heard a lot of people say they're gonna do it, but we'll see when we get there. I'll be in Atlanta the first weekend of May for IBJJF. And
you doing both of them?
Yeah. Then the next week I'll be going back to Atlanta for ADCC.
So you are doing both?
Yeah. I'm gonna do IBJJF and ADCC in Atlanta back-to-back weekends.
Heck
And then I have Michigan June 21st, which is
I think I might
IBJJF.
do that one.
That'd be sick. It's a 1-day thing too. They're doing the whole tournament on 1 day, so which is pretty sweet. Get in and out of there. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I'm gonna hit the
Sweet. Oops.